PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PACTV Community News. We have a full show tonight with stories from your communities.
Well, this week we'll take you to the Pembroke Historical Society and stop into the new YMCA being built at Red Brook in South Plymouth.
The Duxbury League of Women Voters hosted a Civic Bee contest, and PCN caught up with all the action.
Town Talk is from Pembroke, and our arts and entertainment reporter brings a live band to the set for an interview and a song.
We begin with a special concert in Duxbury with visitors from Africa. The African Children's Choir is a group of kids from Uganda who tour the United States singing native African songs. The primary goal of the choir is to raise awareness of orphaned children in Africa and to raise funds in support of their choir programs. Each year, the children travel all over the world. In exchange for their service, students receive free education and many become doctors and scientists. Recently, the choir visited Plymouth. The group stayed with local families and learned all about life in New England. PCN met up with the singers during their time off and attended one of their concerts where they performed with a PCMS chorus.
2, 4, 6, go! Get out of the way! Just a bit.
It's been fun, and today we're gonna go and walk around Plymouth. I have enjoyed playing with different children.
It's been amazing. We've been on the road 7 weeks, and the children make me smile every day. We've had smooth journeys, we've had excellent concerts, and they've loved being introduced to snow for the first time. However, I think they may be bored of it already. We are having a few days stop here. We're working very closely with the schools and the community, having interactions with these children and our children. We're having 2 concerts. We had one very good concert last night, and we've got another one again this evening. And we are having some games and activities, some real fun time just to get to know each other and to spend some quality time together.
Basically, these kids come from very needy backgrounds. Some of them have lost one or both parents. This is really part of their educational program. So they come into their audition, they come into choir training and educational training, and then they come out with this part of their education choir tour and go back to our school in Entebbe, Uganda, which is called the African Children's Choir Primary School. And we're actually celebrating our 30th anniversary in Uganda this year. And of course, many of those former choir kids now have families of their own with children the age that they were when they came into the choir, and doing all kinds of things in helping the community, civil engineers, doctors, nurses, you know, every profession you can think of. Yeah, and then sometimes when the kids come out later in life as chaperones, they will meet former host families or sponsors. So that's a huge reunion for them. But it's very exciting, very uplifting. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's inspirational all the way around.
Construction is underway for the newest YMCA in the Plymouth area, and it's in the Red Brook Estates in South Plymouth. PCN was able to get a sneak peek before its completion.
Most people are going to arrive here. They'll see the illustrative perspective of the Village Green that gives really the best opportunity for people to see what we're really developing here. The perspective shows the meeting house, again, the YMCA to the south. In fact, the perspective shows the YMCA in both phases.
The building of the YMCA is a two-phase process. We are currently at the phase where the steel frame is up, and then the exterior walls will be going up in a couple weeks, and we are hoping to open in the fall. We plan on offering youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. We will have group fitness classes in terms of we will have Zumba, spin, all the traditional classes to go along with our 8,000 square foot fitness center, where we will have an abundance of cardio machines, strength training equipment, a kids circuit line so kids can work out at the same time with their parents.
I'd like to invite everyone out to our annual Touch a Truck. It's a wonderful fundraiser that we have. All proceeds raised will go towards the YMCA annual campaign, helping the less fortunate attend camp. That event is going to be held proudly on our Red Brooks properties, Sunday, May 3rd, 11 to 1 p.m.
As they come into we would call the great room. These old farmhouses often had one big room where people gathered. That's certainly intent here. They come in, they get a sense of the master plan that's shown here in this light table. It gives a sense of scale. They can really get a sense of the entire 1,400 acres, how we're developing on only about 400 acres and how much open space will be left in perpetuity. Gives you a sense of the different activities, lots of fishing, lots of wildlife, boating, swimming, all sorts of great activities. I think it's worth noting that the permitting and approval process started more than 10 years ago with the town of Plymouth passing innovative zoning bylaws in 2004. So we really started the planning and special permit process 2005 to 2007. We got our special permit in 2008. So it's been a long process. We're excited to finally get underway and really starting to open for real. It's been a long winter. So really in about a month's time, the grass will be green, the Y will be wrapping up, and we'll be open for business for real, despite the fact that we started last fall with some temporary sales process.
Very impressive. What an expansive opportunity for everybody in the area to stay healthy and also commune with nature.
Do things together too. And what I love about the Y is they really do everything planned around families. It's not just for children, it's not just for adults, it's really for families. And what a huge footprint that is in Plymouth.
It is, yes.
And it's great.
Nicely done. Very nicely done.
Nicely done.
The Pembroke Historical Society Museum in Pembroke Center is open on a few occasions throughout the year. Recently, the Society held its annual breakfast, and one of the museum's new curators took PCN on a tour of the new and improved exhibits.
We are a group of hardworking volunteers who preserve and maintain the historical sites in Pembroke. One being the museum building that we're in right now, which is made up of two one-room schoolhouses from the mid-1800s, the old Brinefield Schoolhouse and the Great Cedar Swamp Schoolhouse. This is where we house our museum collection, and we have a function room where we're having breakfast this morning and where we have our meetings.
Good morning. Good morning. Plain or blueberry pancakes?
We have an amazing collection of arrowheads and these two grinding stones, which is where the Native Americans would grind their stone to make meal to create their cake, their journey cakes that they would use as they traveled around the area. But in the 1600s, the Barkers came to town. The first Barker was on sort of an expeditionary trip up from Duxbury and discovered the Herring Brook and found a place where the fish were plentiful and it was a good place to settle. And that was the original settlement here in Pembroke. And these two folks here, Abigail and Peleg was the last of the Barkers to own the family homestead. It was one of the oldest homes in America when it was finally torn down in the late 1800s. We here have a collection of artifacts from the Barker home. Interestingly enough, because it was one of the oldest homes, even in its time in the late 1800s, there were souvenir hunters. So a lot of the things that are in the Barker collection, some of them came down through the family, but a lot of them were actually things that were taken off the house, like shingles and door latches, and people kept them in their family for over 100 years, and they ended up here at the museum. The last collection that we're going to feature is something that is quite extensive and quite amazing, and this is our Remembering the Wars cabinet. We have some Revolutionary War artifacts, and we have several Civil War artifacts, including these swords, which are quite amazing.
It does look a lot different now, and that's because of the very, very hard work by our co-curators, Jacqueline and Brett Robinson. They have spent a great deal of time sprucing up, organizing, finding some hidden treasures, a lot of hidden treasures, and so our display is really very, very special. We are not open regularly, unfortunately, because we are volunteers, and so everybody has their own personal life, but we can open up the museum for anybody who wants to come in. We certainly can arrange that. We are open occasionally for some special events, the children's program, which is every May, and that's when the third graders come from the elementary schools here in town, and that's been happening for a very long time, so much so that it's really a very integral part of the third grade curriculum. Our website is pembrokehistoricalsociety.org, and you can also find us on Facebook.
Think you're smarter than a high school kid? Do you think you know more about state government than the average teenager? In some cases, you just might be, but not if you took on the kids at a recent civics bee hosted by the Plymouth Area League of Women Voters. Brian Sullivan stopped into the event at the Spire to check out these smarty-pant future politicians.
Not only is the Spire in Plymouth the Center for Performing Arts, it also serves as a great forum to host scholastic events, in this case, a civics bee. 12 schools were invited to take part, and 5 schools felt confident enough in their knowledge of government and how it works to take part. The 5 high schools up on stage were Plymouth North, Plymouth South, Sacred Heart, Duxbury, and Carver Middle. Each team consisted of 4 players ready to kick off the first of what organizers hope will be an annual event.
Civics was a class I took in 8th grade, and then we never touched on it again for the rest of high school, so I really probably wouldn't have done too well in a competition like this.
It also might explain why I didn't vote in my first election until I was 29 years old. The event was sponsored by the Plymouth Area League of Women Voters. Co-chair Linda Benezra.
The League has concerns about civics education, the need for future voters to be informed and have a good, strong history of how we got to where we are with our democracy. Some of the other leagues within Massachusetts have done civic bees, and our group decided that we too would like to see if we could get some interest from the community.
There was one thing that stood out about the makeup of each team, and that is, aside from the Carver Middle team, which was all girls, all the other teams were predominantly boys.
We noticed that when the names came in. And we set this all up by email to the schools. We first went to the superintendents, we got the name of somebody in charge, and we did it all through email. So when we called for put that program together that we have, we were surprised that it was so many boys and so few girls.
But it's a problem she thinks shouldn't be too difficult to remedy.
I think the League needs to be out in the schools more, talking to the young people, and it would be nice if we started to see more women running for office and being successful, so the role models are out there. There are some, but they're so limited.
Categories for questions included voting on the state, local, and federal level, the Supreme Court, and the Constitution. At stake, a good-sized trophy and some bragging rights.
We have a trophy we're handing out that has space for 10 years worth of rotation. So we hope to keep doing it and getting bigger and better every year.
Linda Benezra hopes the event will excite the young people to engage in and understand politics, voting, and government.
In this world today, we live by sound bites. There's such negativity towards government, and it just isn't the way it should be. These are the young people who will, in fact, be our leaders of tomorrow, and we want to have them have fun, but a chance to learn and to help them to experience the positive side of government and civics.
Reporting from the Civics Bee at the Spire, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
That was really great, and she's right. Government has a really bad rap, and the younger people need to know that it's really, really a good thing.
Right.
And the more they know about it, the better off they're going to be.
And they're getting involved.
Yep, and they're getting involved.
Excellent, excellent. Town Talk brings us to Pembroke as they prepare for their annual town meeting.
Well, hi, folks. This is Ed Thorne, Town Administrator in Pembroke, and today we're going to chat about some of the items that are going to be funded at the April 28th town meeting and how it will affect our summer programs here in town. One of the important things that we're going to be voting on is the purchase of some 10 acres of land across Matakeesis Street from Furnace Pond. As we all know, Furnace Pond is in a tough situation. It's on an endangered waterways list by EPA, and unfortunately, unless something's done to the pond, we may lose it. So in order to not lose the pond, we're going to have to dredge it somewhere down the future. And the acquisition of this property will allow us to hydraulically lift the sediment from the bottom of the pond. A couple of the other items that we have, some CPC monies are going to be spent to improve the boat ramp at the town landing site on Oldham Pond. That boat ramp has deteriorated over the last several years. And so we saw a need that we need to replace that, and so hopefully town meeting will vote to fund that particular project. And then at previous town meetings, we have been able to purchase some portable docks, that we have at Town Landing and at Little Sandy, and we're going to be able to put these new docks out at the Furnace Pond Beach area and the Stetson Beach area. So we're looking forward to making those improvements to those two beaches as well, and we'll be increasing our lifeguard presence at those two ponds in addition to the original ponds at Little Sandy and Town Landing. So those are some of the things that we're going to be working on in the month of May after we get funded at town meeting, and we're looking forward to putting all those projects into place for the benefit of the citizens of Pembroke for the summer month.
We close the show tonight with some special guests for our arts and entertainment segment. Our reporter Maureen Bates brings you the Accidental Band, who, by the way, are having their CD release party on Friday, May 8th at 9 p.m. at the New World Tavern in Plymouth. Take it away, Maureen.
Thanks so much, Julie. Tonight we have on the Accidental Band with Butch McCarthy and Angel Dombrowski. So, Butch, tell us a little bit about why you're accidental.
Well, the Accidental Band is actually the combination of two bands. I had a band called the Gentlemen of Leisure, and then I was playing with Angel and Bob Calderara in a little trio called the Accidentals. And when we put that together, the two bands together, we decided to call it the Accidental Band.
Makes a lot of sense.
I think so, yeah.
So, Angel, tell us a little bit about the style of music, why you're a little bit different than the run-of-the-mill bar bands out there.
Well, I think that the fiddle adds a little bit to it. I have a classical background, so I approach it a little bit differently, I think, than a lot of people, so which can be a good thing and a bad thing. But we do covers, but we do a lot of original songs, I think, which also sets us apart. And we have a nice acoustic traditional sound that melds with the more, I guess, rock background that some of the other players in the band have. So it's a really nice combination, I think, of the two sounds, of the traditional Americana and the kind of more popular music influenced
Wonderful.
styles.
Great. We're going to hear a new song off of your new album, Middleville, called Resurrect Me.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about the new project.
Well, this is all original songs, 13 songs, and we went in the studio in December and kind of knocked them off pretty quickly, and we're very happy with the result, and it's available at our gigs, and we're doing quite well with it.
Wonderful.
It's already had some radio play, so it's good.
Great.
Yeah.
So Resurrect Me. Take it away.
You got it.
When I am lost at sea and I'm searching for new land, just touch my hand and resurrect me. When I'm 1 foot in the grave and I'm hanging by a bough, just touch my brow and resurrect me. Roll away the stone that keeps me away from the love I deserve. Resurrect me. Resurrect me. Roll away the stone that keeps me away from the love I deserve. Resurrect me. When I'm feeling so forlorn and cold from the fold, just touch my soul and resurrect me. Then when my world I built starts to crumble apart, just touch my heart and resurrect me.